Well, our governor is strong-armed, plenty of bad guys in his day, but read down the left of his latest veto letter. He calls it a coincidence. To borrow a line from Total Recall, you blew my cover. The McCourt divorce, it gets uglier and dirtier every single day. Why should you care? It's their problem. Except suddenly, it's become the Dodgers' problem. And forget Halloween. Skip Thanksgiving. Let's go straight to Christmas. The first local tree goes up 58 days before Christmas. Let the shopping begin. All right, on the surface, this may sound like a good idea, but I'm not so sure. In some LA schools, parents are now going to be able to initiate reforms rather than wait for the school district to make changes. This is going to happen at 12 underachieving schools and 18 new campuses. Under the plan, a majority of parents at a school could trigger reforms at a local campus. Personally, I have seen parents get involved, and knowingly or unknowingly, they come with their own agenda. What's good for their child may not be good for everyone else. To me, it seems like there could be anarchy. Our contributors tonight, nationally syndicated columnist Amy Alkon, the advice goddess, and the editor of WitnessLA.com, Celeste Fremon. And Celeste, I'll start with you. You're a teacher. Is this a good idea?
You know what? I'm for it. It's going to be aimed at schools like Jefferson High School in South LA that has a 58% dropout rate. Things can't get worse. And yeah, you don't want parents with all kinds of agendas, but we found with the charter schools that the green dot schools that surround the Jefferson campus and some of these lower income campuses, that they have parent involvement and their test scores are way, way higher.
Yeah, but Celeste, wait a minute. They have parent involvement. I get that. But the parents aren't running the school.
No, they're not running the school, and nor does this proposal allow them to. I mean, there are state laws. You've got to have PE. You've got to have certain things to meet state standards.
Yeah, but what if somebody?
On the other hand,
but what if somebody decides? What if somebody decides? You know what? Too much math. Too much math. I think we're teaching math the wrong way.
Well, I think we're teaching math the wrong way. They might get to have input, but too much math, and we're not going to be able to. You have to have a certain number of math hours. There are certain things that state standards require. So I don't think we're in any hideous danger. At this point, with some of these schools, there's no place to go but up. And what the district has done hasn't worked. Parents are frustrated. Good for the superintendent for being frustrated and saying, we're going to try something else. Let's see how it works.
Amy,
It can't get worse.
Amy, let me tell you this. I understand what Celeste is saying. I'm not so sure this is such a good idea. I don't think you turn the keys of the school over to the parents and say, have at it.
No, I think you give parents a voice, but the fact that the bureaucracy in the schools, that it's run by monkeys, doesn't really, can the parents do better? They're not trained educators. But I think the real problem is that 70% of all black children are born to single mothers. These kids don't have involved parents. They don't have intact families. Throwing more science classes at the problem isn't the solution.
But
intact
Amy,
families.
They found this is a way to get them involved. This is a way to get the parents
Yes,
involved.
I know,
we have people complaining about those parents, and this has worked.
No, I understand it's a way to get them involved.
Charters.
But you know what else? I mean, you're telling these kids take more science classes, but these kids, you help these kids by giving them more technical training. And are parents going to want that non-glamorous stuff? I doubt it. They're going to go for the academics, the involved parents, and not for the stuff that helps the kids who don't come from the intact families. The 50% of the LA kids who don't even graduate high school. Do they need science class or do they need a daddy? I think they need a daddy.
Celeste, all right, Celeste, let me jump in. Celeste, let me jump in. 15 seconds, Celeste. You get the last word here. 15 seconds, go.
They need a daddy, but the school system isn't going to provide that, but they can provide them an opportunity to go to college, and that'll change their lives. And maybe their kids will have daddies.
All right, let's move on now. You know that Dodger owners Frank and Jamie McCourt are going through a divorce, and it's ugly. They have an estimated worth of $1.2 billion. Frank claims he's the sole owner. Jamie claims Frank hoodwinked her into signing the papers last week. A judge should rule next week if Frank is the sole owner. But if the judge rules it's community property and the team is valued at $800 million, either one has to buy the other out or they'd have to sell the team and split the money. The Dodgers fired Jamie last week as CEO for having an affair with a subordinate employee, Jeff Fuller, who is her driver and provides her security. She is asking the court to reinstate her as CEO. We learned today that the Dodgers organization is asking to be heard as a friend of the court to oppose that bid. They are dragging the entire organization in. It's a mess. Have the McCourts embarrassed one of this city's most valued public treasures, Amy?
I think they've embarrassed themselves. This is basically John and Kate plus money in a stadium. It's so horrible because, No, baseball makes people happy in troubled times. These are troubled times. This is sort of like the Dodgers. It's like fighting for custody of the Statue of Liberty, but there's nothing anybody can do. And I guess I'd ask you, Fred, does the front office turmoil affect how the guy throws the ball on the field?
Well, it doesn't affect how the guy throws the ball on the field, but here's how it does affect it. When it's time to spend money, when it's time to sign free agents,
Exactly.
when it's time to extend the contract of someone in the front office, how do you do that if A, you don't know who's in charge, and B, you don't have any money to do it? Go ahead, Celeste.
To fix up the stadium, absolutely. All of these things that we know that the Dodgers franchise needs, we're not going to have money for with these crazy fighting people. Where we have Jamie demanding, let's see, flowers in her. That this is part
fresh
of the
cut flowers,
demand.
Celeste. Fresh cut
flowers, and making Dodger legends available free of charge for any event she wants. I mean, not to mention the nearly $400,000 a month, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not pretty, and it harms. As Amy said, it's like fighting over the Statue of Liberty. It's really unfortunate. I mean, maybe if they're forced to sell, maybe we'll all be better off a pox on both of their houses.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Let's move on to our next topic.